In studio today, we have a wonderful Nicola Cronje from My Magic Words. I'm excited to have you here, and it's lovely to have you. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
It's wonderful to have you. So let's just dive right into it because I'm so excited to just find out more. So tell us, where did the idea of My Magic Words come from? Like the inspiration behind everything?
So it's an interesting story because it wasn't actually something that I sort of woke up with one day and decided to do. It was an idea that grew quite organically, quite naturally, and it stemmed from a few places. One, in that I became a mom for the first time.
Okay.
Two, because I'm such a big natural researcher. I love to research anything that interests me, that I feel is beneficial, and COVID also had a big part to play in it as well. So it was sort of a culmination of when I was doing research on good things to do as parents, and I just kept reading time and time again about the benefits.
And people were confined during COVID.
That's it. And so libraries were also closed as well during that time. So gaining access to libraries, books that were like affordable and accessible was a challenge. And I sort of dived into secondhand books, and from there I was becoming frustrated with the lack of availability of secondhand books in Port Elizabeth. So I had started buying books from Joburg in Cape Town, and then sort of quite naturally moms on Facebook sort of saw that I always had nice books,
and they were
for sale.
interested.
That's it. And before I knew it, I had this big following of people who were always asking me, when are you selling books again? When are you selling books again? And then that turned into a WhatsApp group, and the WhatsApp group turned into...
It just kept growing.
It just kept growing. And then I've sort of always had an interest in arts and crafts and so on, and I did a lot of arts and crafts with my kids during lockdown as well.
Yes.
And I knew when I decided that this was my passion, and I was now going, because I was working full time in corporate, I was running HR for BMW actually when I left. And when I realized that this was my passion, what I wanted to do, and I was going to leave, I knew I needed to be more than just a bookstore. And so that's why we added all of these additional offerings to have people come in and to really get kids excited about reading. That's why I wanted to combine that element of, reading is fun and reading is interesting, and do it with fun things like the crafts, so that we can really kind of bring the books to life for kids and have them become interested again.
It's reading made easy and fun.
Yes,
again.
Absolutely.
So tell us, how important is it for parents to read to their children?
If it is the only thing that you get right as a parent, you can forget about the flashcards and the workbooks and the apps and all of those things. If there is one thing that parents should do, and I'm talking like starting from you can actually start from birth, you can start from when they are babies, but really from around the age of 1-2 years, if parents just read 15 minutes every evening to their child and make that part of their nighttime routine, it is the most important thing, because it just sets up the foundations of so much for children. It's so much more than just learning vocabulary. It's building on your social skills. It's learning how to empathize. It's building on their emotional intelligence. It's building their understanding of language and how it structures the sounds, the phonics. It teaches them about the world. So it is the most important thing a parent can do for a child, is just to read to them every night, and then the benefits are enormous.
All right. So how does reading help develop children's imagination?
Hugely, because they've got to actually actively use those imaginations to kind of put themselves in the character's shoes, and it's not like a TV or screen where everything is just fed to them. There's
you make your own picture in your mind.
Absolutely, and and books cover everything from the very abstract to very realistic, real life, everyday situations. So yeah, it just and it's and there's a lot of make believe involved, and it just shows them all those possibilities of anything is possible. It's brilliant for developing their imagination.
And you know what? I, for one, grew up as a Cinderella girl.
Yes.
Because my mom read me a Cinderella story, and I was like, you know what? I'm a Cinderella girl.
I see that. Yes.
Yeah. So tell us, what do you think is a good idea for kids, or why do you think it is a good idea for kids to keep on reading books?
Because of all of the multitude of benefits that it has for a child, and over and above the ability to expand their imagination, to develop those emotional intelligence skills, develop that vocabulary, listening skills as well is another important one that you're developing before a child reaches school age. It's also bonding. That parent-child bonding, when a child is sitting on your lap, they actually... It brings a closeness at the end of a day where our lives are so busy and they're so hectic, and we don't often get to have that connectedness,
that time with the kids,
that one-on-one quality time with our kids. And so reading is a great bonding activity as well, and it helps for children to associate reading with love and affection and bonding time with their parents.
And you know what? I'm sorry. Another thing is, it's a good memory. Because I, for one, remember the times when my mom used to read to me.
Absolutely.
It's just one of those things. I'm like, even when I'm now older, I would laugh, and I'm like, you know what? Even the imitating, even the funny sounds should make for the animals. So it really is a really good bonding thing.
It is.
So another thing, do you think that it's important for a child to read other books, like the ones that are not on their mother tongue, when they can read and like try something new?
Definitely. Oh, definitely. Yeah, because that again, especially children are such absorbers of language and reading in, practicing reading. I have a lot of parents that come into the shop, especially if their children are struggling in Afrikaans, or or vice versa, if they practice reading in that other language, it definitely helps develop.
All right. So now, how can parents encourage their children to love and read books instead of always watching TV or playing video games or even going outside to play?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, the biggest thing would be to create it part of a routine. So I've got something that I call the 4 B's, which is brush. So hang on, let me just get this right now. It's brush, bath, book, bed.
Okay.
So if you do those every night, children like routine. It helps form part of their feeling of security, their comfort, their predictability, and then also have them be part of the choosing of those stories as well.
They would like to know.
Yes, because not everybody is the same. It was the same with my kids. I had sort of developed a whole little mini library in our house, and they didn't read every single book that I had brought into the house. But that is how I learned what their individual tastes and preferences were. And that's how you develop your favorites. So let them be part of that. There's a lot to be said as well, if you're going to the library or if you're going to a bookshop, to take the kids with, to choose those books, because
the ones they would love to have.
Exactly.
Not your personal favorites.
Not just you bringing the books, absolutely. Because if children are part of that decision-making process of, I'd like that book, the studies actually show they're 90% more likely to show interest in that book.
The ones that they chose.
Absolutely, yes. And, there's also instances where, if your child is of an age where you can read the book Matilda with them, then you can say, okay, now we can sit and watch the movie together. You can make it fun in that way as well. All
right. So how does owning a book help with the kids being more interested? Does it help when they own it than when you maybe go to the library and just get it for that period of time?
Definitely. the libraries are fantastic, and any kind of accessibility to books and books that are affordable is a winner in my books. But studies have actually shown that there is a huge difference in a child's perception of books and reading in general if they actually own them themselves.
Okay.
So there is, there's a lot of studies showing that book ownership is very important. There's actually a non-profit organization called Book Dash, and that is their mission based on these studies, is that they are they get a whole lot of volunteers together with editors, illustrators, graphic designers, and they develop these books in a 12-hour period, sort of overnight.
Okay.
And then they've got funding to get all these books. But their mission is to make sure that every child owns 100 books before the age of 5, because that's what study shows. Having those books in their house helps develop that love of reading. Yes.
And you know what? When you have a book and you love it, you will read it. I'm one of those people that will read a book and I'm like, I know this book, I've been reading it, but I just love it so much. I want to read it again.
Absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right. So what are some of the books you would recommend for parents to get their kids, maybe the young ones?
Well, hands down, anything by Julia Donaldson is a winner. She is now quite world renowned. She is phenomenal. She originates from England, and she's got a lot of books in her
kids.
repertoire. Yeah, from anything from, there's the Gruffalo, there's Monkey Puzzle, there's Snail on a Whale, Sharing a Shell. She's got many books, and those are fantastic stories. One of my personal favorites is actually The Paper Dolls. Those books, the rhyming is easy and flowing. Books with rhyming are always a win with kids. Because it just helps them with that predictability and that kind of that sing-songiness.
And
also,
it's fun.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. And her books are brilliant in that regard. She's a phenomenal writer.
All right. So last one. How can people get a hold of you? So you have a bookstore, you have books. So if someone is listening right now and is like, I'm interested to get my son a book, or each of them, I need to get one. How can they get a hold of you? Where can they get you? How can they communicate with you?
Perfect. So we have a very active Facebook page, My Magic Words on Facebook, and we've got a very active Instagram page as well, which is My Magic Words Bookshop on Instagram. And then we've got most of our customers communicate with us via WhatsApp as well, which is on our website. So we've got a website with our contact numbers. We're located in Lovemore Heights. It's just around the corner from the Mount Pleasant Spa. So we've got our store there, and that's where we also host a whole range of arts and crafts activities, where we also like to make reading fun and tie in the stories with crafts. And then to help with that affordability aspect as well, we also accept in good condition books on exchange. We make an offer on those for store credit.
That is good, yeah.
And then any books that are bought from us, if those come back in the same condition and with the price still on, then we give up to 70% store credit back on those books. So it just helps. So if you're looking for fresh material, you've read everything, and
you're
got
on a
their
budget.
favorite. Absolutely. Then you can bring those books back and keep your favorites, because that's important for kids. Don't part them from their favorites.
Yes,
and then you keep the favorites, and then if you want other material, bring those in, and then you get a good store credit amount back for that, and it just helps to make reading more affordable. So they can come visit us at our store, and keep an eye on our Facebook and Instagram pages for any new activities and events coming up. And our website is www.mymagicwords.co.za.
All right, everybody. That was Nicola from My Magic Words. Such a wonderful, wonderful interview, but time is our enemy. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
I really appreciate it.